right now as we speak. Now, more than ever, we need a national security strategy. My father, as most of you know, General Jim Molan, was a great proponent of a grand, all-inclusive strategy, which is much more comprehensive than the National Defence Strategy that was released this week. I'm joined now by the Deputy Chair of the Parliamentary Joint Committee on Intelligence and Security, Andrew Wallace, who is spearheading calls for a national security strategy. Andrew, it's great to see you. This is just unbelievable that we as a country in the current climate still do not have one.
Well, Erin, it really feels like we're asleep at the wheel here. Your late great dad was a great proponent of the national security strategy, and he was a good friend of mine, and I feel that it's my responsibility to, not just to him, but more importantly to the country, to really ensure that we have a national security strategy. What we saw on Wednesday with 𝗦𝗁𝗏𝗂𝗏𝘁𝗲 with the defence strategy is not enough. That is just one element of what the security strategy is all about.
Before I ask you a couple of more specific questions, I want to talk to you now about Israel's retaliation, direct strikes in Iran reportedly. What do you make of that, and what potentially could happen next?
Well, clearly it's a very fluid environment in the Middle East at the moment, where Israel has been threatening to take retaliatory action for what really was an unprecedented attack of Iran on the sovereign state of Israel. More than 300 rockets, missiles and drones were launched against Israel, and but for their amazing air defence network and that of Israel's allies, it could have been so much worse. You know, hundreds, if not thousands, of Israelis could have been killed in those attacks. So it's very serious for Iran to have launched those attacks. And thank God only 9 of those weapons were able to penetrate those defences.
Yeah, you look at, some people may say, well, look, this is far away. What impact does that have on us? It's huge, isn't it? Not just from a national security perspective and what it could mean, war in the region in a wider way, but the markets, the financial markets, the price of oil, I mean, our own fuel supply, which is, you know, dwindling and tiny in of itself.
Yeah, clearly nobody wants a war in the Middle East, least of all an expanded war between Iran and Israel. Up until now, Iran has been fighting Israel through its proxies, through Hezbollah, through Hamas and through the Houthis. But this is very much a gloves off from Iran's perspective once they started attacking Israel directly from Iran, and it had to go. It could not have been left unchecked from Israel. You can't have one country attacking a sovereign country without some sort of a response. Now, nobody wants to see a war in the Middle East or broader, but clearly Israel needed to respond, and it looks like it's just done that this afternoon.
Tell me the difference between, and I've heard my dad tell me this a million times, the difference between a national security strategy and a national defence strategy, and why the prior matters so much.
Well, a national security strategy is all-encompassing. It involves all of both the federal government, all of the state and territory governments and local government. It involves industry. It involves our critical infrastructure. It involves just the whole of the Australian society and the mobilisation in the unspeakable event if there is a broader war where we saw Australia involved. A national defence strategy is only one element. A national defence strategy talks effectively about the mobilisation of our Australian Defence Force, whereas a national security strategy talks about the offence and defensive measures of our entire country.
So how do we get this done, and yesterday, basically, yesterday, when we need it?
Well, we absolutely need it. It is purely a political decision on the part of the Prime Minister, and I'm calling on the Prime Minister to institute, let's get cracking on this. We have no time to waste. A national security strategy has to be implemented, and it's the Prime Minister that can order for it to be done. Now, you know, he has the power to do it. We know things are deteriorating in various theatres around the world right now, and, you know, the best time to plant a tree is today. This should have been done 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine, but let's get cracking on it today.
I won't name names, but I think often of my dad trying to get this over the line and being told, it's in my head. Our national security strategy is in my head. Shame on us, huh, Andrew?
Your dad was a great leader and a great mentor of mine, Erin, and I still hear his words ringing in my ears.
Yeah, all the time. Well, he'd be incredibly proud of what you're still fighting for, as am I. Andrew, thank you so much for your time, and hopefully something happens sooner rather than later because we've run out of time.
Thanks, Erin.
Okay, well, now to the